Good morning. My name is Karen Allison. I'm an ophthalmologist at the University of Rochester, Flaum Eye Institute. I'm in charge of the glaucoma service, and I do a lot of work with population health, primarily in glaucoma, macular degeneration, and diabetes. I really believe that glaucoma, Alzheimer's, macular degeneration, they're so connected. So that's one of the areas that I'm working on. And I'm working with a lot of people in Africa, in Nigeria, in Ghana, and other doctors that are interested in glaucoma and macular degeneration to start to work on some areas. And we're in the early stages, but it looks very promising.
Why are you focusing your research on populations in Africa?
So let's talk about the glaucoma first. So we know that right now about 75 million people worldwide have glaucoma in general, and the majority of them is primary open-angle glaucoma. And it's expected that by 2040 it's going to increase to over 112 million people. Primarily, most of those patients are in Africa. 4.4 times risk of glaucoma with Africans or African Americans, anyone with an African ancestry, than, say, Caucasians. So because of that, I think and we don't have a lot of knowledge about the genetics of the glaucoma in that continent. We need to look at some of the allostatic load that these patients are facing. And then once we do that, we can also see the patients here, the African American patients, the Hispanic. There's not a lot of information on that either. And hopefully we can get some information on the Native Americans. And from that, then we can start looking at the genetics to see what some of the exposures are. And so that's what we're working on. So the reason that we're working with Ghana and Nigeria is because those are pure African bloodline. We have families, like 4 generations, glaucoma, blindness on 2 sides of the family. So those are some of the patients that we're collecting data on and working with them on. And the same thing in Ghana. And I know that 99% of us are the same, but there are some genes that are a little bit different with different groups that put them at risk for certain diseases. And we all know that race is a social construct. There's no such thing as black race, white race. It's just a way to describe people. And I understand that there's no such thing. And then we start looking at people as individuals and then start looking at diseases in that way. The same thing for macular degeneration. It seems as if a lot of people think that blacks do not have, or dark Hispanics do not have macular degeneration. I think that's not true. I think I've found a lot of patients with drusins that eventually go on to macular degeneration. Ghana, Nigeria, Congo, there's not a lot of work done in that area. So that's why we're partnering with them to study mainly those 2 diseases, and to see what we can find, what commonality, look at their genetics in their blood and hopefully tissue, and see where we can go from that. This is a long project. It's going to take a couple of years to get the full results, but I'm hoping that by next year we should have at least some really good preliminary data.
Is there anything you'd like to close with?
Yeah, I think eye care is healthcare, and I think the sooner we start looking at eye care, I mean, I have more patients that tell me that they'd rather die than go blind. I see the impact it has on their families, the impact, get depressed, they cannot work, they have no independence. So I think it's something that we really need to focus on. Now, there's some diseases that they're rare, 1 in a million, but there's some diseases that are very common. And as I said, cataract, glaucoma, diabetes, macular degeneration, these 4 diseases are things that we really should focus on, because I really think they're connected. These are all diseases that occur as you get older. They occur in every race. and in every sex. A lot of environmental factors contribute to that. Sunlight exposure, dust, smoke, diet. I tell my patients, whatever you do that's good for your heart is good for your eyes. It's the same blood going around your whole body. So I think we really need to start looking at this as healthcare and start working with other groups to make sure that we are addressing such a major part of people's human being.
Thank you for taking time out to talk with us.